What if I told you that some of the most profitable crops you could possibly grow aren't in any commercial farm near you, aren't in the specialty produce section of your grocery store, and aren't being grown by almost anyone in your neighborhood? Plants that sell for $20, $40, even $80 per pound. Plants that chefs are desperately searching for, supplement companies are willing to pay premium prices for, and health-conscious consumers are begging to find locally. And here's the most powerful part. Plants that grow in almost every climate zone across North America, from the cold, brutal winters of Zone 3 all the way to the warm, subtropical conditions of Zone 10. Most people don't know this, but while everyone else is fighting over tiny profit margins growing tomatoes and zucchini that nobody wants to buy, there are specialty plants generating serious wealth for the smart, informed growers who know about them. Plants with massive demand, razor-thin competition, and profit margins that would make any farmer jealous. And today, I'm going to show you 10 of them that will change the way you think about your backyard forever. Stick around, because number 6 on this list sells for up to $70 per pound, grows in zones 3 through 9, and most supplement companies are still importing it because almost nobody is growing it domestically. And number 10 is a medicinal herb so in demand that hospitals and research facilities are actively looking for reliable suppliers. And it might already be growing wild in your yard right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we post new videos every week that'll save your garden, save you money, and show you opportunities hiding in plain sight. So, let's get into it. Here are 10 secret plants that can make you rich from your backyard in almost every zone. Number 1. Gourmet oyster mushrooms, the 30-day cash crop. Let's start with something that will completely reframe how you think about growing. Oyster mushrooms, Pleurotus austriatus, aren't technically a plant, but they're grown in backyards, garages, and sheds across every single climate zone in North America, and they sell for $12 to $25 per pound, fresh at farmers markets, restaurants, and directly to consumers. Here's what makes oyster mushrooms the perfect starter cash crop. They grow from inoculated substrate in as little as 30 days, indoors, year-round, regardless of your zone. Farm-to-table chefs pay premium prices because they simply cannot get reliable fresh supply from distributors. Most commercial mushrooms arrive days old from industrial facilities. Your fresh, locally grown mushrooms are a completely different product. Start with 10 to 20 growing bags in a spare room or basement. Basic startup supplies run $200 to $500. Growers with just 50 to 100 bags report weekly harvests worth $300 to $700. The math changes completely when you're selling at $18 per pound instead of commodity prices. Zone 3 in Minnesota or Zone 10 in Florida, it doesn't matter. While other growers lose crops to frost and heat waves, you're harvesting on a 30-day indoor cycle all year long. Number 2. Lemon balm, the stress relief gold mine. Lemon balm sounds humble, but Melissa officinalis is generating serious money for small growers right now, selling for $20 to $40 per pound dried, and the wellness industry cannot get enough of it. Lemon balm grows in zones 3 through 10, one of the most adaptable herbs you can grow. It spreads vigorously once established, meaning you plant it once and it multiplies on its own. Harvest 3 to 4 times per growing season. The stress epidemic has created unprecedented demand for calming herbs. Lemon balm is the go-to ingredient in dozens of wellness teas, tinctures, and supplements. Research backs its traditional use for anxiety and sleep, pushing it from niche herbalist markets into mainstream wellness retail. As the craft tea industry is exploding, and small batch companies desperately need domestic organic lemon balm suppliers because most supply still comes from overseas. Harvest in the morning when essential oil content is highest. Dry at low temperatures to preserve aromatic compounds. 20 pounds of dried lemon balm from a well-established patch in a single season is entirely realistic. Lemon balm proves that aggressive spreading isn't a problem, it's a profit model. Number 3. Wasabi, the $100 per pound unicorn crop. Most people read wasabi and immediately think, that's too exotic, that's too difficult, that's not for me. And that reaction is exactly why this is such a massive opportunity. Because authentic wasabi, Wasabia japonica, is genuinely difficult to grow. And that difficulty is precisely what makes it worth $80 to $150 per pound, fresh. Here's the truth about wasabi most people don't know. Almost all the wasabi served in American restaurants is actually horseradish, mustard, and green food coloring. Real wasabi is nearly impossible to source domestically. High-end sushi chefs will pay extraordinary prices for authentic, fresh rhizomes. Wasabi grows in cool, moist, shaded conditions, zones 7 through 9 ideally, but manageable in other zones with controlled conditions. It needs shade, consistent moisture, and temperatures between 46 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Challenging? Yes. But that challenge eliminates most competition before they start. The growing cycle is 18 to 24 months to harvest. That investment of time is exactly why prices are extraordinary for growers willing to do it. Think of wasabi as the crop that filters out everyone wanting quick money, leaving an essentially uncontested market for patient, committed growers. Number 4. Saffron, the red gold. In your garden, saffron is literally the most expensive spice on earth by weight, and Crocus sativus grows in zones 6 through 9 in the ground and in containers in virtually every other zone. This is the crop that redefines what's possible in a small backyard. Here's how the math works. Saffron sells for $5,000 to $10,000 per pound at wholesale. You need approximately 75,000 flowers to produce 1 pound of dried threads. That sounds impossible until you understand how small the growing space requirement is. You can plant 150 to 200 corms per square meter. A serious backyard operation with 500 to 1,000 square feet can produce meaningful quantities worth thousands of dollars per season. And here's the beautiful part. The growing season is fall, when most other crops have finished. Saffron crocuses bloom in October and November. The crop requires dry summers, cool fall temperatures, and well-drained soil. Each corm produces daughter corms that expand your planting naturally. After your initial investment, your production base grows every year without additional cost. Premium, locally grown, hand-harvested saffron commands extraordinary prices that dwarf anything commodity agriculture offers. Number 5. Ginseng, the forest floor fortune. American ginseng is one of the most profitable plants you can grow in forested or shaded areas. E. and Panax quinquefolius has been generating wealth for Appalachian and rural growers for generations. Dried mature roots sell for $300 to $800 per pound, and demand from Asian markets, particularly China, is essentially unlimited. Here's what makes ginseng so valuable. American ginseng is legally protected and in genuine short supply because wild harvesting has dramatically depleted natural populations over decades. Cultivated ginseng that mimics wild conditions commands premium prices because wild ginseng is nearly impossible to find. Ginseng grows in zones 3 through 7, perfectly suited to North American hardwood forest conditions. It needs deep shade, rich woodland soil with good drainage, and cool temperatures. If you have mature trees on your property, creating a shaded forest floor environment, you have perfect ginseng habitat. The growing cycle is 5 to 10 years to mature roots. That's the reason most people never try it, and exactly the reason prices are so extraordinary for those who do. Growers who planted ginseng 5 years ago are now harvesting crops worth tens of thousands of dollars from small, shaded backyard plots that would otherwise produce nothing. Traditional cultivation involves planting seeds under mature hardwood trees and essentially letting the plants grow naturally with minimal intervention. Ginseng rewards patience and punishes impatience. But a half-acre planting of mature ginseng at harvest represents $50,000 to $150,000 worth of dried roots. Now, if you're starting to see the pattern here, that the most profitable crops are the ones requiring knowledge and patience that eliminate most of your competition, hit that like button right now and subscribe to Before Your Garden Dies. We're building a community of smart growers who understand that real wealth comes from finding opportunities everyone else is too impatient or uninformed to pursue. Number 6, ashwagandha, the supplement, industry's desperate need. And here's number 6, the one I teased at the beginning. The herb selling for $25 to $70 per pound, dried, with a supplement market worth hundreds of millions of dollars and almost no domestic production to meet demand. Ashwagandha, Withania somnifera, is one of the hottest supplements on the planet right now. Every major wellness brand has an ashwagandha product. Every health food store carries it. Millions of Americans take it daily for stress relief, energy, and hormonal balance. And the overwhelming majority of it is still imported from India. Here's the opportunity hiding in plain sight. Ashwagandha grows in zones 8 through 11 in the ground as a perennial, and in zones 3 through 7 as an annual, with a surprisingly productive growing season. The plant thrives in hot, dry conditions, the same challenging summer conditions that make growing other crops difficult. The roots are harvested after the growing season, dried, and sold to supplement manufacturers, herbal medicine companies, wellness brands, or directly to consumers. Domestic growers who can provide certified organic, traceable ashwagandha can charge significant premiums over imported supply. Here's the business angle that most people miss. Supplement companies are actively looking to diversify supply chains away from sole dependence on overseas producers. Quality control, shipping costs, and supply chain disruptions have made domestic sourcing extremely attractive. You're not competing with Indian farmers on price. You're offering something fundamentally different: local, traceable, quality-verified product. A quarter-acre of ashwagandha in good growing conditions can yield 500 to 1,000 pounds of dried root at harvest. At $30 to $50 per pound wholesale, that's a $15,000 to $50,000 return from a small plot. Number 7, Tulsi, holy basil, the sacred herb, printing money. Tulsi, or holy basil, Ichnum sanctum, it is the adaptogen that mainstream wellness culture adopted from Ayurvedic tradition, and the market demand is enormous. Dried Tulsi sells for $20 to $45 per pound, and the tea, supplement, and wellness markets are all competing for consistent domestic supply. What makes Tulsi exceptional as a backyard cash crop is its combination of easy-growing, massive biomass production and premium pricing. In warm climates, zones 9 through 11, Tulsi grows as a perennial, reaching 4 to 5 feet tall and producing heavily all season. In cooler zones, 5 through 8, it grows as a highly productive annual with multiple harvests possible per season. The plant produces abundantly. A 100-square-foot bed of well-established Tulsi can yield 10 to 15 pounds of dried herb per season, worth $200 to $675 at retail prices. Multiple beds scale proportionally, and the growing inputs are minimal. Tulsi is drought-tolerant, pest-resistant, and practically grows itself once established. Target markets include craft tea companies that want distinctive flavors and wellness stories, supplement manufacturers needing raw herb material, natural beauty companies incorporating Tulsi into products, and direct-to-consumer through farmers markets and online platforms. Tulsi got overlooked in Western agriculture because it was categorized as exotic. But exotic with high demand and low domestic supply equals exactly the profit opportunity smart growers are capitalizing on right now. Number 8, yarrow, the medicinal wildflower, worth more than you think. Yarrow grows wild across most of North America, which makes most people assume it has no value. That assumption is costing them money. Achillea millefolium, particularly high-quality, organically cultivated varieties, sells for $15 to $35 per pound, dried to herbal medicine companies, craft brewers, natural dye artists, and cosmetic manufacturers. Yarrow is a perennial that grows in zones 3 through 9, one of the most cold-hardy medicinal plants available. Once established, it spreads, requires essentially no maintenance, tolerates drought and poor soil, and produces multiple harvests per season. The entire aerial part of the plant is harvested when flowering. Here's the market reality that most people don't know. High-quality, cultivated yarrow commands significant premiums over wild harvested material because consistency, cleanliness, and traceability matter to commercial buyers. If you can supply organically certified, consistently produced yarrow with documented growing practices, herbal supplement companies will pay premium prices and sign long-term supply agreements. The craft brewing industry uses yarrow as a pre-hop bittering herb in historical and experimental beer recipes. Natural dye artists prize it for the yellow tones it produces. Cosmetic companies incorporate it into skincare formulations. This multiple market demand across completely different industries means price stability and diverse revenue streams from a single crop. Think of yarrow as the plant that was hiding its value in plain sight all along, growing wild everywhere, while growers who understood its market were cultivating it deliberately and getting paid exceptionally well. Yet to number 9, elderberry, the immune support, goldmine. Elderberry hit mainstream awareness during the pandemic and has never looked back. Sambucus nigra grows in zones 3 through 9, produces abundantly in its third year and beyond, and the dried berries sell for $10 to $30 per pound, while elderberry products, syrups, tinctures, gummies command extraordinary retail prices. Here's what makes elderberry exceptional for backyard growers. The shrubs are large and productive. A mature elderberry bush produces 10 to 15 pounds of berries annually. Plant 10 bushes and you have 100 to 150 pounds of berries worth $1,000 to $4,500 per season from plants requiring minimal ongoing care. They tolerate wet soil, shade, and neglect that would kill most fruit crops. The value-added opportunity is where elderberry becomes truly exceptional. Raw dried elderberries sell well, but elderberry syrup, the finished product, retails for $20 to $40 per 8-ounce bottle. Elderberry gummies, tinctures, and capsules command premium prices in health food stores and online. Small batch producers making value-added elderberry products are building six-figure businesses from a few dozen productive shrubs. Elderberry represents the intersection of everything profitable in specialty agriculture: enormous consumer demand, natural health credibility, multiple product possibilities from a single plant, and growing conditions suitable for a huge geographic range. Number 10. Stinging nettles, the weed that pays extraordinary dividends. And here we are, at number 10. The plant I mentioned that might already be growing wild in your yard right now. Stinging nettles, the plant most people curse and try to eliminate, is one of the most valuable wild harvested and cultivated medicinal plants in the herbal industry. Urtica dioica grows in zones 3 through 10, making it one of the most geographically versatile plants on this list. It thrives in rich, moist soil and spreads aggressively once established. Dried nettle leaf sells for $8 to $20 per pound, but the real opportunity is in the extraordinary demand that constantly outstrips supply. Here's what makes nettles a genuine opportunity. Nettle is used in dozens of supplement formulations for allergy relief, joint support, and nutritional supplementation. It's rich in iron, vitamins, minerals, and compounds that have been validated by modern research. The European herbal medicine market has used nettle for centuries. and American demand is finally catching up. Fresh nettle is increasingly sought by chefs and restaurants for nettle soup, nettle pasta, nettle pesto, and other dishes. Fresh herbs sell at much higher prices than dried, and the restaurant market for unusual forage-style ingredients is willing to pay premium prices for consistent, clean supply. A chef who discovers you can provide fresh nettle weekly will become a long-term customer. The practical opportunity. If nettles are already growing on your property, your startup cost is essentially zero. Harvest carefully with gloves, dry or sell fresh, and build relationships with buyers who need consistent supply. If you're establishing a planting from scratch, nettles establish quickly and begin producing harvestable quantities in their first season. If you made it all the way to the end, you now understand something that most backyard growers never figure out. The biggest profits don't come from growing more of what everyone else is growing. They come from growing what the market desperately needs and almost nobody is supplying. These 10 plants represent a fundamental shift in how you can think about your backyard. Instead of hobby gardening that costs money, you're building a specialty crop business that generates income. Instead of competing in saturated markets for commodity prices, you're serving premium buyers who are actively searching for what you produce. The beautiful thing about every plant on this list is accessibility. You don't need hundreds of acres. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need to compete with industrial agriculture. What you need is the knowledge you now have and the willingness to start. So here's what I want you to do. Smash that like button if this video showed you opportunities you never knew existed in your own backyard. Drop a comment below and tell me which plant you're most excited to grow. Are you team medicinal herbs? Team exotic spices? Team long game ginseng? I read every single comment, and if you haven't subscribed to Before Your Garden Dies, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We're building a community of people who understand that financial independence and garden abundance aren't separate goals. They're the same goal. And I'd love to have you as part of it. Thanks for watching. The backyard that's been costing you money could be generating serious income starting this season. The only thing standing between you and that is knowing what to grow. Now you know. I'll see you in the next video.